Good morning. It's Caffeine Corner, and I'm Steven.
Wow.
That's Cheshire, and that's the God above, aka Bullinator. He's going to be busy today. Hi, God. How are you? You got a job out for you today, man, because we're having a Q&A session, a call-in Q&A session, to talk about maybe a recap of the week when it comes to critical thinking, some of the things we've talked about with the different models we've talked about, the Karpman model, the drama triangle.
Tell us about your experiences, or if you started to notice them in your own life, stories you have.
Oh, I like that idea.
Been able to utilize them.
Yeah, I like that idea. Personalize it, right? Because we've all experienced these things. And by the way, we don't want to talk about non sequitur, and don't use anybody's specific names, right? Just your experiences are fine, but we're not going to talk about any content creators this week. So we are just going to be talking about critical thinking. And on Wednesday, we're going to be talking about politics. On Friday, I'm going to have a controversy of the week, which I haven't figured out yet. If not, I'm going to fabricate one and we'll just make some controversy up on Twitter. It's not that hard to do, from what I understand. It's like so easy, I guess. Apparently, it's like you just say something on Twitter and you just have this massive, oh my God, and you have just people yelling, screaming, and yeah.
So you just need to make sure you're talking about starting a flame war.
Yeah, well, some controversy.
No, like an old school flame war.
Should we?
Ilya Pertun says WBW Fedora Lives Matter. For anybody who missed out, yeah, it's white boomer women.
That's what it is. White boomer women.
I need to change my Twitter handle.
Yeah, I watched Cheshire's stream I watched her stream last night, and it was long. It was very, very long, and I've just never heard the word period mentioned so many times in my entire life. I was like literally thinking I was growing a uterus.
Welcome to the world of parenting and having teenagers in your life.
Yeah, well, no, I'm familiar with the concept. Yeah. We can talk about Mr. Sirius. He's a whore for attention, so he's going to call in. I guess he'll tell us.
Oh, hell yeah! He better call in now.
Yeah.
You got to.
So anything else? Chester, what else we got this wrap? To kind of recap this week before we give out the information to dial in, or there's two ways you can do it. By the way, you can call in by the phone, or you can actually use a Hangout link. Your choice. And yes, it'll be monitored, obviously.
Like and share and hit the bell and subscribe. But no, we would love to hear your experiences. We've talked about a lot of things. It doesn't just have to be the triangle. If you're newer around here and maybe have seen some of our older stuff where the 5 C's have come in handy, whether it's in your day-to-day life, in your business, with your family, things like that. It doesn't even necessarily have to be only on this channel specifically. If you've learned something from maybe Ilya Moon's channel, if you've maybe learned something from my channel, if you've maybe learned something from some of the sessions that Boole has done and talked about even on his own channel, by all means, let us know. Come chat with us. We're open books to you right now. If you have any questions or anything that you have contention with, now is your opportunity.
Yeah, and also help me figure out what kind of controversy we need for the Friday. Maybe give me some ideas. I don't know. All right, so let me put the information to call in. This is the phone number. What you do is just call that and then put the PIN number in. That's one way of doing it. We are taking one at a time because it's just easier that way. We found that if you take multiple, it's difficult. And if you don't have a phone or don't want to do it that way, you can actually join us on Meets. So it is first come, first serve. Even if you just want to come and say hi, that's cool too. Hopefully you have something to tell us about your experience with these things.
You can also ask questions for the live chat. We do try to regularly, like normal for a live chat.
Yeah, since when do we ignore the live chat? That never happens.
We try not to. I'm sure there are questions that we've missed.
Well, yeah, when it's scrolling really fast and you've got 150 people asking questions or something like that, it's kind of difficult.
Or I've taken off my glasses because I've gotten serious, so I can't see that far.
Yeah, and then I've noticed that she'll take off her glasses when she's really trying to look all kind of serious. Let me.
It's not because I'm trying to visually look serious. It's just an indicator. If I'm if I'm joking around and just chatting away, I have my glasses on, but for some reason I have a habit of like, okay, listen, I take my glasses off. I don't know why. I just do. I have no interest or desire to change that habit. I kind of like it. It makes a really good indicator. It doesn't mean I'm not being serious when my glasses are on. It just means that I'm like, okay, focus for a second.
Yeah, no, we all get through that, right? You can't be hyper vigilant all the time, right? We're not always hyper focused, and so there's certain times where, like, somebody having a conversation and they talk about something, and I get a little more tuned in, right? Like it happened on Drunken Peasants the other night. So a couple of the conversations I wasn't really tuned in, but all of a sudden they hit something that I was tuned in on. And I'm sorry, I got coffee on me, and I was like, oh yeah, this is something I want to pay more attention to. Yeah, it's open to all. SJ Thompson, come on in. You can call in, or you can come in with the meat, either or, both. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, of course
the only thing we're not going to be interested in is like known bullshitters.
Yeah, trolls are not.
We have a caller. We have a caller.
Awesome. Oh, who we got? Hello.
So I don't know who it is, so let me bring him in.
Hey, it's Ilya.
We know this caller.
Hello.
It's your favorite Southerner girl. I shouldn't say just Southerner because Bull. He's in the South too.
One of our favorite WBWs over here.
Absolutely, yes. Let's do this. WBW for life. So I wanted to come on. I don't really have any points of contention, but I wanted to come on just to say that I have learned so much from you, Chesh, on how to navigate rough situations, especially with trollish behavior, especially with how to navigate even difficult situations among peers. And it's helped me really move past things that aren't important and not dwell on those things, so I can continue to focus on content creation and working on my channel and working on myself. And so I don't know that you know how much you mean to me as a friend, and I wanted to come on to just publicly state it outright that you are a dear friend to me, and you have helped me in so many ways in that regard.
Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I find that it's really hard for people sometimes to recognize when they're in a situation that to take a step back from that situation and think about what is best for them. Because there's what you want to do reactionary, there's what you want to do to when it comes to like how you're feeling, and then sometimes you need to be like, okay, let's look at the large picture of what's going on and decide what is best for myself in this situation, whether it be I don't know, whatever's going on in your life. It applies to pretty much everything. It can apply to a business partner. It can apply to essentially anything. Pick one, a boss. Sometimes you want to yell at your boss for being a dick, or you want to go over your boss's head, but sometimes that's not going to be what's best for you. And thinking about what's going to be best for you and whatever it is that you want to do and you're working on is like prime.
Oh, for sure. And I also want to say, Steve, I have learned so much from you as well. I don't want to not acknowledge the fact that when I came into this community, I found all of your topics so interesting and so compelling, and I've learned so much from you from a philosophical standpoint that I had absolutely no understanding of prior. So you educate me and you help me learn and you help me grow with a lot of your content, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you for making my ego go, full nuclear. No, I am humbled when people say things like that. Especially for coming from, someone like you who's been through so much, and we all adore you, and your praise means a lot to us. It really does. It's not just like not just something that feeds our ego, like certain cases of people that we know. It's more along the lines of it. It's nice to know that people are like learning something from these things and utilizing it. It's helping them. Yeah,
yes.
They're being helped, and that's the big thing. If this stuff helps somebody, we feel good,
Yes, and there have been a lot of times, and yes, I have been through a lot in my personal world over the past year. And I'll tell you, another person who has just been steadfast there for me is Bull. And I feel like sometimes, maybe we as creators who work with Bull, we don't necessarily forget Bull's there, right? And we know how much he pours into what he does for each of us. But he is also a genuinely good person and a genuinely good friend. And I'm going to tell you, there have been times when I was on the edge and Bull talked me off that ledge. So I just wanted to come on and give,
by far.
I wanted to make sure that the three of you, I wanted to come on and just tell you, each of you, how much I love and appreciate you. You guys need to keep on doing what you're doing, and I support it in every aspect. And Bull has my unwavering love and respect and friendship. So
we're in the same boat there. Yep.
Oh, thank you, Ilya.
Hashtag
Bull is best boy.
Bull is best boy.
He is. But I just wanted to come in and share some love today. I'm not in the mood to share drama or contention. I just want to share the love.
No, that's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Share the love.
Well, I'll let you. I'm going to hop off because I heard some other callers come in, so I'm going to give everybody else. Everybody gets to hear me all the time on my channel, so I'm going to go. But love you guys, and I will be watching.
Right, shout out your channel real quick. I know we have two people waiting, but shout out your channel real quick.
Yeah, Sit Down with the Bunkers. We have Bull does produce 3 of our shows. We have the Stupidly Creepy show on Saturdays. Sundays we do Equality. And then tonight at 9 p.m. we have the Weekly Derp, which is just a funny point and laugh news segment that Quitties and Glover Mom head up as the host. And then we also have Creators Corner, which is a very small, just quick segment on one of the creators in the community who's newer. And we want to help, show them and show the other talents in the community. And then we also...
Real quick, I have a new person coming in on Rum and Coke night, a new, a true fledgling creator. I mean, like 12 subs. Okay. But they reached out to me on Facebook, and I've been talking to them on Facebook, and they seem really, really legit. And I guess they were.
I don't know. We do know Steve's character, to be fair, so we'll see.
Oh no, what I do is I help them out, then they get popular, and then they're like, Steve, who? I've said this years ago. I'm like, people do this. Like watch, you're gonna get really popular, and you're like, who's Steve? And they're like, oh, that's not gonna happen.
It's actually been the experience.
It's actually been the experience. I'm like, I'm not just joking on that because I think it's true. But whatever. I don't think it's gonna happen with Moon. I'm not gonna joke about that. Moon's gonna get pretty popular, but she's not gonna forget about us. I'll go on record that I'm pretty confident of that. Because I'm not going to forget about her.
No. Never. You guys are home to me when it comes to this community. You guys were my first, I guess, contacts and my first friends in this community. And that's just something I won't just walk away from, no matter how far I go or what happens. Right. So
that's exactly we value our friendships with people, and it's unfortunate when other people don't have that same mindset. But what are you going to do, right?
Right.
I can't expect the same.
So yeah. Well, so you can watch on our panel. We do have Mr. Serious, who is also in the chat. He is now back in action, and he will be producing Poop in a Can, which is guys doing guy things. Last week they tried to build a rocket, the Lego rocket set, and it looks like Daniel Pratt's water heater at the end. I don't know what they were doing, but whatever. It's just
it's like the positive part of boys being boys. It is like the earnest, adorable, positive.
Yes.
What's the term? Like wholesome boys will be boys.
I like that kind of stuff. I got no problem with.
I love that
stuff like that. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that.
Fantastic.
Yes, and so the 4 people on that is Mr. Serious, Mr. Victory, Quitties the Sprinkler, and of course Punchy. So they are going to be doing that every Thursday, and they've got like the ISS Lego set, and then the rocket they're still building.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so definitely catch that on Thursdays. I think at 9:30 p.m. is when they're going to be doing it on Thursdays. And then Mr. Victory also is doing his open panel discussions too, called Let's Do This, where it's kind of science and satire a little bit. No, it's not science or satire like Team and FTE do, but it's just an open panel discussion where you can come in and talk about science, rockets, space, or, someone like a Karen. It's just something fun like that. So, but anyway, we'll put a link in the side chat so that way everybody can come and sub if you want to, or check us out. Love you, Chesh. Love you, Bull. Love you, Steve. And I will let you guys go to get to the next caller.
All right.
That's good.
Thank you. Bye.
Love you, Bull. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So one of the callers dropped. The other caller, if you press pounds or *6 on your phone, you should be able to unmute. Because I mute the call. There you go.
All right, I am unmuted. How are you guys doing?
Oh damn! Who's that?
It's Mr. Serious.
Mr. Not So Serious.
Yeah,
back,
I mean, you
man.
heard. Cheshire has heard enough of my voice yesterday.
Oh man, that was brilliant. That was beautiful.
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, what is the name of your friend? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chesh. I'm sorry.
I said we missed you. You've been away.
Oh, I know. I'm finally ready to come back. My teeth issues are, well, I still need to get a crown, but no pain. It doesn't, air going across my tooth doesn't hurt me anymore.
Hooray!
I get to start my rheumatoid arthritis drugs back again on Friday. So hopefully my regular pain levels and my energy will go back up. Because yesterday's stream that I did, I was so exhausted when I got done, and I was shocked that it took that much out of me to do that. So I'm going to try to come back and maybe do a little better. I'm hoping, but if I can do what I did yesterday, I think I'll be okay. Like if I can handle that, I think I'll be okay.
I believe in
what are you on?
You can
are you on? What are you on? Anti-inflammatories?
I am on a. Am I on a? I'm not. No, I'm not. Actually, not anymore. I'm on Enbrel, which stops production of white blood cells, and then I'm on hydrochloroquine, which is interesting. I'm on that famous drug that got famous because of no reasons. And so yeah, I take those two things for.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, just to let everybody know, for somebody who takes hydrochloroquine, I have to get my eyes checked annually because there's a chance they can cause like sudden onset blindness that's permanent, and I don't recommend anybody take it frivolously. It's a very dangerous thing to recommend to somebody frivolously.
Yeah, they use it for other things, but people that have been prescribed it, again, it's used for other types of things. So yeah, it's nothing to be trifled with. It can be a very harmful side effects with that.
Oh yeah, tons of them. However, I forget, what's the name of the show that you're doing on Friday?
Controversy.
I mean, if you want, like, this is something that I did this yesterday. If you're running out of ideas, you can just go to your comment section, find somebody, and just roast them royally.
Well, no, I mean, see, the point of controversy was really kind of things that are like in the Twitter universe of what's going on that people are having, a disagreement about that may or may not I actually have an opinion on, right? I mean, something that I can actually maybe be swayed either way, or just whatever, or something that I just have an interest in, that kind of stuff, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is the controversy of the week going on?
So, Steve, what happened? What he's referring to is somebody decided to call everybody on the Sit Down with Debunkers channel racists, and that they're all white and boomers.
Oh,
yeah,
that's not really,
boomers.
Controversy. That's just an idiot.
White boomer women. I mean, it is if you're talking about like. It depends on how you decide you want to take the conversation, because there is like a lot of racial tension going on right now. So if you decided to go that direction, you could.
But a controversy is like, for example, like Trump, for example, like getting rid of TikTok. That's a little controversial. Or what's going on in the world, or something. I don't know, something on Twitter that's basically just I don't know explain how I envision.
You're looking for more
controversy
fluff.
question. Yeah, it's not like it's supposed to be hard hitting. It's supposed to be like, hey, here's a question. Let's take both sides of it and see where we end up, kind of thing, right?
Roasting somebody in the chat would fall under fluff, in my opinion.
But what's controversial about that? I don't know.
It becomes controversial when you do it.
Say all white people are racist and only white people can be racist.
Okay, that's a little bit better, right? Can non-white people be racist, or are all white people racist? That's controversial, but I don't know if that's really going on in the Twitterverse.
Sounds like white supremacy to me.
That's like a daily thing, that's just like that's kind of ubiquitous every day on Twitter, right? If somebody doesn't use the rape word or racist word at least once a day on Twitter, I don't think you can't go a day without seeing those words. I don't know. They're just everywhere.
Yeah. Yesterday was kind of the Day of the Woman. We had on Day of the Debunkers on Equality, we had a kind of an all-woman group about feminism. And then Cheshire ends the day with an all-woman group about periods, basically. Lots of periods.
Dude, I'm starting to have heavy flow after that, okay?
However, we lucked out because we got our very first troll, and he responded to one of our members named Roxy. She was talking about how she was a pagan, and so he started accusing her of all kinds of things, like worship, or like you're gonna sacrifice babies or white people. I think he said.
Yeah, the thing that was weird was that he was saying she did some awful things as praise. So he was praising her for being a pagan because white pagan women kill white babies, like white male babies, and that's helping with racism. It was bizarre.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I wish I could have done this on the regular group, the Sit Down with the Debunkers, but I have not actually set myself up to stream from that channel yet, which is something I got to alleviate pretty quick. So I did it from my channel because it was something so quick. Like Ilya's like, you should stream this, and then 10 minutes later I'm streaming it. And but he happened to jump into the chat of the stream and continued arguing his point. It was glorious. We had an actual roast of our first troll, and he even came in for his roast, and then we continued roasting him.
Glorious. Yes, that's right. He came into the chat. Ilya for 5 says, this dude from yesterday, his definition of discrimination was just being white. His answer was white women need to stop having white children. As he assumed everybody's race, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You always remember your first troll, trust me.
Oh,
that's what I said. You always remember first.
He popped your troll cherry.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
yeah, that was fun, and that's something you could do if you wanted to make controversy. If you would like to.
I'm not really going out of my way to make controversy, but I was just kind of throwing that out there. It's like, between now and Friday, who knows what can happen, right? Especially on Twitter. But by the way, I mentioned Deep in the Heart, Broken Pieces. The person that's been coming on our Room and Coke night, he needs a little assistance kind of thing to get his channels going. I was hoping to maybe get him to 100 subs if possible. Then he can owe his soul to me and basically take me for 95% of my channel at some point, which would be great. But I'm gonna put the link out there to his channel and maybe get some subs for him. The guy only has like 14 subs. I mean, it's about as fledgling as you get. So he's gonna come on to
Atheist Linguist is also a quite the fledgling for his own channel, and I would definitely recommend also checking him out. He just popped up in the chat, and
yeah, man,
go check out his stuff. That's great too.
Do you have his link? Put his link in there. Because we got about 80 some odd people watching. Even if like half of them went to go subscribe, we'd get them some subs.
I'll look for both of them.
Just in case there's any trolls watching or people who hate Steve, Steve did say that he doesn't like to start controversies. So go back and clip that and then put it in any video.
Edit that out, actually.
That you'd want to.
Steve loves conflict.
Dear God, what have you done?
And by the way, Godless Scummer, I know you missed your first troll, but I remember when Godless Scummer first started getting people to troll with him. He was actually really cordial on Twitter. He was trying to be really kind of, objective and unbiased. And he just was like, okay, I don't know who the hell Steve is, but whatever kind of thing. And all of a sudden, people are inundating him. It's like, who the hell are these psychos? And I'm like, tell me, man.
Man, I don't know.
He learned quickly. Great. I love watching people for their first time get experienced to the nuttery of my toxic fandom. I actually kind of get a little kick out of it. Is that bad? Am I a horrible human being for getting a little bit of pleasure out of the toxic fandom, getting the shit on by people, and people recognizing the fact that they're just nasty people?
It's a little bit funny only because they don't tend to like be too vicious with new people because they want them on their side.
Yeah, that's true.
So, because we talk about this isn't new information, so most people know, like, at least have, like, a little bit of an idea going in, and then just watching them just be like, okay, all right, no, I didn't, all right, I thought I knew, I didn't know, and, okay.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because, again, I tell people, I only give people advice, right? I don't demand anything. I don't ask people for anything. There have been certain people that I'm better friends with, or thought I was better friends with, where I was like, hey, I think that you probably should do this, and give them very strong reasons as to why. But if they choose to not follow that advice, what are you going to do? But most people, when they come to the community, I just give them generic advice, and I say, look, it's your channel. Run it the way the hell you want. You could do this, do that. But I'm telling you from our experience, which is pretty well established, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, that's going to happen. It's not me like making it happen. It's just what we know from experience. It happens every single time.
Right. Yeah. This is it's like clockwork. It's a, Mr. Serious knows. He's been here.
Oh yeah, I am very experienced. Steve is a super villain in a lot of people's eyes, and it's really nutty. And these people are so fun to talk to.
Did you see that video?
She has the mindset of doing machinations. She has the mindset to fabricate in her head these multiple 4D chess, 5 moves, 6, 7, 8 moves ahead kind of shit. Whatever.
Look, I took my glasses off, so you know I'm serious. Anybody who thinks that this show we are currently doing right now, just caffeine corner, the whole thing, is not a calculated plan of some kind as part of my master schemes, needs to check themselves before they wreck themselves.
Right? I've already figured that out. I just don't know what her master plan is, but I'm sure that this is somehow integrated into it somehow, But yeah, so like I said, we'll have him on for on Coke Night, and like I said, I like helping new creators and stuff like that. I think a lot of us do. As a matter of fact, most people in the community, I think, we're kind of new creators at one time. I mean, Elliot Moon kind of jumped on into the fray. Let's see, we had
if anybody's caught a lot of shit, I remember a certain Mr. Serious being very disappointed that he was completely ignored by somebody who decided to go full troll.
Oh, don't. Yeah. By the way, keep trying. If the trolls haven't found you yet, keep trying. They eventually will. Don't give up. Yeah.
Well, Batty was fun. He made an entire hate thread for me.
Oh yeah. And I've only known the guy. Like I talked to the guy for like 10 minutes of my life. 10 minutes of my life, I've talked to this guy maybe, and but I was told. I'm not even kidding. I was told a couple years ago to watch out for him. But anyways, I don't want to talk about negative content creators. I don't want to talk about positive content creators. Remember, we're having a blackout this week. None of us.
I mean, it depends on your view of positive, doesn't it? It's kind of relative, don't you think?
But we want to put that out to the community that as a whole, we want to recommend to people this week. We wanted to just completely ignore toxicity and toxic.
Oh well, if we want to talk about positive and awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh damn! You beat me to it.
Yeah, we'll talk about
it. Well. Well, I mean, if we really wanted to talk about, positive content creators, I am the best. So go ahead and subscribe to Mr. Serious's channel because there's none better, not even this one.
Oh, he's got to throw down the gauntlet. Got a challenge there.
I actually really enjoy Mr. Serious's channel. It's super chill. It's a lot of fun, and there's just memes. It's memes galore. It's like there's so many good merch ideas that I'm looking for.
hang on, Mr. Serious. You have memes. Do you then, after you have the memes, apologize profusely about having the memes to people?
I haven't yet, but I do plan on doing that eventually.
I'm curious. I'm asking a question. That's all. I'm just curious if you're gonna like, genuflex and prostate yourself and go, oh, I'm so sorry for having memes. They're memes. I don't know. Whatever.
You need to
memes are
apologize to
memes.
Starman.
Oh yeah, Starman. Oh, I've been so mean to Starman. He's so helpful sometimes, but sometimes.
Put your link in the live chat so people can go sub to that too. And we've got almost like 100 people watching, so hopefully they'll like sub to you guys. I mean, it's like I don't know. I'm telling you, people don't sub on call outs. I've noticed over the years, it's about 1% of your view size or your channel size. So if you have like 1,000 people, you're going to probably get like 10 people to subscribe if you have a call out from that channel. If you have 10,000, you might get maybe 100 people at most.
It kind of
it's
depends on how it's
percentage
and how the channel is presented. So this channel in this video is definitely encouraging of engaging in conversations with multiple creators and with multiple people within different communities, but we're also not very often do we actually call people to action. So a lot of the times when we do it, we have to, if we really want it, we have to make a really big deal, and unfortunately we don't tend to want to do that unless there's something extreme going on, like somebody's gonna be homeless and we're like, okay guys, we need to pull together and make sure something needs to happen to help this person out. So in a lot of the times when we're calling out a channel, be like, hey, if you're interested, but by putting that caveat on it, it's not like you need to go do this. It's more like hey, when you're, and by doing that, it kind of deflates people potentially wanting to go do that. It's just the way we kind of approach it isn't really akin to big boosts in numbers, I guess.
Yeah, and we're not competitive, right? I mean, if there are people out there that want to like support other channels, we're all for that. I support Cheshire's channel. She supports Mr. Serious's channel. Mr. Serious supports somebody else's channel. It's just one big thing, and we're fine with that.
It's like a family.
I think a lot of content creators have this.
And sometimes there's a crazy drunk uncle that you got to tell they're not allowed to come around anymore.
Yeah, that when the drunk uncle shows up, you're in trouble. But I think a lot of content creators think that if they have like all these shout-outs, they're gonna like subs are gonna be watching other things and super chatting to them and stuff like that. And to us, it's like whatever. Watch what you want. Super chat who you want to super chat with. I think a rising tide lifts all boats in the long run. I think if you help channels out and people find them channels to be good content, right? It's all about the content. And if they're good content, they're gonna have their own subscriber base. There'll be a lot of overlap, but in the same time, my subscribers will find them. Those subscribers that find those other channels will find us, and I think it works out overall. I really do. At least I like to believe that. If I'm wrong on that, so be it. It may be a bad business model, but it's worked for me so far. It actually has been exactly what I kind of thought. I mean, it's at least been decent.
It's long term versus short term. But TD Lane in the chat asks, "Where's the fundraiser for Chesh's PhD from Patriot University?" Hey, we're working on that. That's coming. Mr. Serious, did you hear about that?
I did, and I totally support it, and I think that I should be the next one to get a fundraiser so I can be Dr. Serious.
Yes.
That would be awesome. And
there's a little math and deciding about how we're going to approach it, because there's like a couple of steps that need to be taken to get there. So we're still figuring it out. But if you want to know more about that and you want to talk about that more, you need to go and bother Dapper Dinosaur.
And speaking of the strength of the community when being asked to do something, I think we could have a little bit of an experiment. Let's see how strong it is by how many people sub to my channel.
How many?
You see what I'm doing there?
Yeah, I got that. You have 123 as of right now.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. So you did use that? What you started with?
Today, yeah. Well. Yes.
Okay, so far nobody subscribed to you that we've asked to.
Everybody here's already subscribed to me.
They probably are, yeah, that's probably true actually. And so don't take it too personally. And it is a lot of overlap, right? Now, but for example, Deep in the Heartbroken Pieces, I don't think, obviously nobody's subscribed to him yet because he only had 14 subs. So he should probably have at least double that by now.
I subbed to him.
We'll see. Did you? I gotta find his thing again so I can. I gotta find his link again. Darn it. Okay.
What
Oh,
have
he's
you
at
done?
16.
Oh, he's got 6. So he's got 2. Wow.
We got that.
Well, I'm one of them. I'm half of that.
And then
Yeah,
we've got
put his
this
link
one.
time. Yeah, so,
I've got both.
So
There you go.
here's his link.
Follow
Right there.
the
I'll put it
links.
into. Yeah, all the links. Like I said, we want to help promote people. We want to help people get subs, at least their first 100. I think that's the least we can do. Because it's hard to even get 100 subs if you really think about it on YouTube. It's not as easy as you think, even if you have a community.
Unless you're down with the debunkers, in which case your community is just so awesome that people just magnetically come to you, and then you get over 1,000 like real fast.
I got over it. Well, I guess not. I kind of my channel was weird. My channel was kind of established, and it's I don't know.
I think we can help get people like 500 at least, maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I figure 100 is at least decent. Let's do 100. You know.
Godless Scummer says, I definitely prefer associating with people who want to build others up than the toxic assholes who just want to rip others down. I think that there's actually a psychological shift in that there are some people who don't understand or don't know or think that the only way to build themselves up is by ripping somebody down. Because then you're taking their place. Like, oh, look, I was able to pull this person down, so therefore I'm better than they are, which isn't necessarily the case. This isn't like MMA. And even if you do win a fight in MMA, you're not guaranteed to be more popular than the person you beat. Sorry.
I think it's a zero-sum game, and I don't.
Right, and it doesn't work like that. And in some cases it does. In some cases it's important, but not for the reasons that they're thinking. Like if you were to do there's a big difference between what iDubbbz does with Content Cop when he used to do them versus people trying to just tear somebody else down because they feel like they're justified in doing so, that they're on some kind of righteous crusade. Content Cop wasn't just throwing shade. It was, here's what this person is saying and here's their behavior. You do whatever you want to do. And it straight up removed people from the platform in some cases, or for a time, because like that's how good he was at doing that. But he wasn't tearing these people down and making things up about them or trying to spill tea about.
He's actually
these
talking
people
about the actual topic
for his own gain. He was doing it because it was a big goof on people who were being jerks, and he was like, "You're a jerk. Here's why. Let me show you the ways."
When we bring something to somebody's attention about what people do or say, like going, like for example, like recently people have been going after my daughter for some reason, thinking it's perfectly acceptable to which my daughter doesn't pay attention to that stuff, but it just shows the character that they have, right? Or they just flat out lie and they just spew character assassination left and right. That's what they do, right? And that's fine. They're allowed to do that. But what we do is we show people how to notice that, because if they can character assassinate us, they can character assassinate you and anybody else too. So you have to understand what to look for, and that's kind of what we point out. But see, we're not here to tear anybody down. We're here to give people the skills so they recognize other people who do.
Right.
Well, I think I think the biggest difference is that we, as the people in this community, and me too, I do this, and I recognize that other people in this community do this too, is that we point out and we try to fight bad behavior. Like, we don't try to expose people, we try to expose behavior.
Yeah, I think that's more accurate, yeah.
And then when that behavior comes out and they look bad, we don't, like, nobody here really cares. Like, we're not like, let's go in for the killing blow because we got them on their knees. Like, that's not the intent. The intent is like with you and Aron Ra, you're not attacking him at all. You're attacking this behavior that he's partaking in, and everybody who likes him gets really defensive for him for I don't know what reason. You're not attacking him at all, but you're attacking his behavior.
Yeah, it's just that they feel like they need to defend somebody, regardless if they actually understand why his behavior and what he's saying is just naive at best, and I think dishonest at worst. But do you notice though that there are a lot of people that just they go after like me for whatever reason, and they get literally everything wrong. It's like they expect like we have to go in and fix everything they get wrong, which sometimes we do. We'll address certain things that they get wrong, but most of the time we just ignore it because people know now that pretty much 95% of everything they say is completely wrong. And so I don't even have to bother it anymore. Other people like, hey, you said this, but that's complete BS. And they recognize it, right? It's because they've learned from the tools that we've given to them. But people that come after me, and all they do is use my name for views. And all they do is use my name to say, oh, Steve McCrae, this, and that. They don't get very many views because people know of it now. They understand. They've learned this is just people spewing stuff for views, and so I think this show has had effect on people.
One of the things that I have noticed recently that I'm so happy about is, like, if you want to use Aron as an example, the way people have approached Aron has not been derogatory. It's been respectful for the most part. There's been like a couple of pokes and jibes here and there, and of course there have been. It's Twitter. But nobody's like saying, oh my god, Aron, you're such an awful person, and oh my god, you kick puppies, and oh my god, blah blah blah. That's not happening. He's getting pushback in his argument, and he's getting pushback in his behavior. And the thing that I've noticed is that people have gotten so much better at that. People have gotten and people are getting pushback in a way that makes sense, in a way that it doesn't just turn into a complete flame war. Sometimes it does once in a while when somebody's just gone full dishonesty and everybody's just having a good romp around laugh that nobody's taking this person seriously. And that's fine, because that one, you got to have an outlet and a laugh once in a while, and two, sometimes people they're not honest agents. You've already tried to have the conversation with them. So when it falls apart, it's their own damn fault. And everybody's like just having, and you're not going to take this person seriously every time they show up. So, come on.
Yep. And by the way, it's funny. Like I just noticed this when it comes to Deep in the Heart, Broken Pieces. Do you know that out of all your videos, the most popular video you have, and this is not ego. This is not, I swear to God, this is just making my point. His second most popular video, and it's just from a day ago, is the one where he mentioned my name.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, you were also shouting him out.
No, this was I wasn't shouting him out. The day was the first day I really shouted him out. This was yesterday.
I can only imagine what the comment section looks like. I'll look later.
I watched the video. I mean, people point things out to me.
I'm saying the comment section.
Oh, well, I mean, I told him literally, you can ask him. I told him, dude, you moderate your channel the way you feel like you need to be moderating it. However, there are people that will come around and they'll spew bullshit. They'll just spew things that are outright lies. And I've already explained a million times. I'm not going to sit there and be sea-lined. And if somebody asks me about them, I'll explain it. And by the way, he already looked through all this stuff and he already realized I was telling the truth. And so, but I mean, I'm not going to tell people how to run their channel. I never have.
No.
And so it's and by the way, I don't mind people using my name. That doesn't bother me at all. It's flattering, actually.
Particularly when they've
especially in this case, it was very positive. But I mean, I could tell him. He probably knows that half the people that watched that probably were haters. I mean, probably that's whatever. Don't use right. Yeah, hate is hate, man. 80%, 20%. That's the optimal. I think 80%. Like 20% dislike. Now I might be 70-30 nowadays. Who knows? But I grew. I got a big crowd now. So, all right. Anyways, we have everybody in the wings there. By the way, I'm not trying to get rid of Mr. Serious at all, but
I am. Get out of here, Mr. Serious.
I know Trish hates me.
Oh yeah,
you should see the way she treats me off the stream.
I know. You have no idea how she talks about you behind your back, dude.
We just got somebody in the wings, and I have not muted them, so they're actually on with Mr. Serious.
Oh, dang.
Okay. We have the super chat, then we'll get to them.
Yeah, Helios for 10 said something that I have noticed since the 5Cs and logical fallacy streams, that people have been better at calling people out and not breaking down into just flinging insults. super chats for appreciation.
I completely agree with you. And by the way, I think there was. Did you read the one from Godless Scummer? If you did, I didn't hear it.
Oh, I don't know if I did. Godless Comer, no, I did not. Godless Comer for 5 said, in YouTube, it normally ends up being mutually assured destruction.
A lot of times.
If you're trying, he's referring to when we, if you're trying to get to grow yourself by ripping other people down, it usually does not go well.
And, Moon is going to do a conspiracy show of all the things that people have heard and probably make up some stuff about conspiracy about me. What can go wrong there?
Robert, fans go after critics of objects of their fandom because it questions their judgment and unsettles their world.
All right. So thank you.
I guess I have one last thing to say before I go.
Yep.
In regards to the thing that I was talking about when it comes to attacking behavior versus attacking a person, I think a really, really good example of seeing this happen is Steve and Matt Dillahunty. He said that he basically called you a bitch in response to you trying to fix his mistake. I think that's a prime example. But that's all I got. I'll let you guys have a conversation with whoever's waiting in the wings. And I just wanted to say that everybody in the audience, I love you, and I think that you're all awesome. And Cheshire, you're awesome. Steve, you're awesome. Steve, you were like a celebrity to me like years ago. I never thought I'd never actually be even ever talking to you because I had bull.
That feels weird to me. I don't know, man. I don't know how I became like in the public eye.
And I was like, oh.
You know what? I'll take it. I love when people say that they've watched me for a long time and then they want to talk to me. I love that. I know a lot of people that are like, oh, well, if you want to talk to me, you got to go through all these multiple steps. And I'm like, send me a message. I mean, I'll talk to pretty much anybody unless you're an asshole. And even then it might be fun, but I don't know.
All right, let him leave,
you talk to
Steve,
me.
so-
All right, go.
So,
Go.
see you later. Have a good day.
We can just go forever.
All right, who do we got in here?
What's up, Steve? Can you hear me?
Sir.
Hello.
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, we can
hello.
hear you.
Okay, sorry. This is Converse. I was just seeing. I couldn't. I've never called in before, so yeah, I
Nice.
couldn't tell if you guys could hear me or not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
How
Also,
you
I got on
How are
the
you?
map. Yeah. Man, everything's good. I can hear. I can barely hear you guys, but yeah. So I did you guys see my last video about Aron Ra that I put up? It's called Aron Learns About Evidence, and it's really funny and revealing if you watch his debate with Trent Doherty, because Aron, he says things like, well, Christians have told me, every Christian I've ever talked to has told me for the last 20 years that I was wrong about the definition of faith. And it's like, okay. And then he goes, well, whenever I was given a 3-year grant to study nothing but faith, and we had all these articles written about it, we were required to have a certain amount of papers written on it. And like, he was going into like his in-depth knowledge about how like he was giving grants just to study faith. And he's like, and you're just wrong. It was so interesting how he wouldn't turn his views even then, though.
Give the link to Cheshire so she can put it in the live chat, because I haven't seen it yet. But I do remember that he was talking to a friend of mine, if you know Eric Hernandez. Do you know him?
Yeah, I just had Eric on my channel last week.
Okay. Yeah, Eric's a great guy. I
channel.
actually met him in Texas. Literally met him in Texas, and it was a really, really nice guy. What?
I'm pretty. He spoke with Aron, didn't he? He had a debate with him.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Yeah.
he did, and he was on Pistis, and it was really embarrassing. Well, I know. He did a debate with him, yes, but he also hit in a dialogue where Aron was talking about faith. Eric got to ask him a question, and from my understanding, when I have talked to theologians about this particular topic, every one of them has a consilience that Aron is not using the term faith the way that the biblical understanding of pistis would be. And I haven't found anybody that agrees with him on this. Is that your position?
Yeah, I haven't either. In fact, I just rewatched. Do you remember when Ozzy had a discussion with Aron a while back on
Very much so.
faith?
Yeah, Aron didn't fare
Man.
well.
No, that was it's a pretty amazing discussion. But so one more thing I wanted to say before, and I'm at a store right now. I'm about to have to go in and get some lunch. But one more thing I wanted to say was I came up with I guess you could say like a hermeneutical approach or a model to biblical slavery to show how not only is it is it immoral to own slaves, but basically, did you get a chance to see that the other day on Skylar Fiction Show?
No, I don't watch Skylar any longer. I have
Okay,
nothing to do with it.
I wasn't sure if you did or not. Yeah. Well, I mean, I understand, but anyway, so I'll repost it on my channel, but basically, I gave a model of an apologetic model that I've kind of pieced together from Christ and other sources, but in the comments, everything was about my psychological state or my bias or about cognitive dissonance.
Man, I'm
and
so sick of that crap. I mean, that's what we argue against. I know that you are very articulate, intelligent, well-read on these topics. People that don't know who you are, I know who you are because I've had you on before, and we've actually had conversations about this stuff. And I think you really do learn about a lot about these topics. And so when people dismiss you by making it personal, they clearly either one, don't know what the hell you're talking about, or B, they have no argument against it, and so they have to go, oh, look at this guy. He's just having a cognitive dissonance or bias. No, that's not necessarily the case.
We saw a little bit of that when
Drives me nuts, dude.
on Modern Day Debates, Steve's discussion with Snake was right in both cases. Now, what ended up happening is Snake came on over here and we had a lovely conversation, had no problem, and reached an agreement at the end, reached a consensus at the end. So does now all of the shit people spewed about Steve and his position now apply to Snake because we were able to actually get to an understanding?
Yeah, but he still waffles. No offense to Snake, but he still waffles. I mean, he still has to, I think, cater to that crowd because of, I mean, although he agreed with me, a lot of these people that agree with me, and I know this from experience because a few of them actually explicitly told me they're not going to go out and really kind of make people aware of that because they know people go after them. It's just like, I mean, some of them don't. Like, for example, like Chris Attlee, who I do over and under with on Wednesdays. They went after him hard, and you know what he told them? Piss off. Because they literally told him, well, you're not going to get popular if you have show with Steve. He's like, okay, and whatever. I mean, it's just like,
nice. Well, it would be nice, like the strength of numbers kind of thing. If everybody actually did say and went on, you would find that less and less people would be getting attacked because there's be too many people to attack.
Yeah. Trust me, I have no problem getting guessed. No problem at all.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that next time I make a comment that involves you, it'll be like, well, yeah, but you're a shill for Steve, so. And we don't even really talk ever.
Yeah,
I haven't been on your show in a while or anything.
And we probably disagree on a lot of stuff too, but we can have civil dialogue, you know.
Yeah, but we agree on character attacks, and yes. I'll say this is that what I'm looking for is show me how the model doesn't work, or show me how it's inconsistent, but here's the thing is they don't want to do that. The people who are arguing against it, it's just it's like it's a threat to their whole view of life or something. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to be leaving for Destin. But when I get back, I'm going to do a hangout and I'm going to invite everybody who wants to come in. All right. And I'll send anybody the link, and I'm going to defend the same model, except for as an agnostic. So you can attack me as being some Christian fundamentalist. I think
it'd be interesting.
So I'm just going to say, hey, listen, I'm an agnostic, and I think this is a good hermeneutic approach. I think this model works for the Bible. What do you give me your arguments. So then you can't say, oh, well, you're just a Christian and all that.
Real quick, do you know Hayden Clark?
Yeah, I do. I'm familiar with him. Yeah.
Okay. I was on Hayden's channel the other day, and I actually had somebody message me going, hey, I saw you on Hayden's channel, and Hayden's a really great guy. And he's like, I was in awe, that you were able to, not just bash on Christians, not treat Hayden like, like somebody who didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I was like, well, why would I? Hayden's a nice guy. I was like, Eric
right.
had said, hey, Steve, I know you want to go on some theist channels. Hayden doesn't have a very big channel, but he's a really articulate, intelligent, well-educated kid on this. Would you go on his show to kind of, have a discussion with him? And I jumped at the chance, of course. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So he's an apologist, but he's the type of apologist that I would love to have conversations with. That's what we try to have.
Yeah, he's open, because I don't want to believe something that's not true. So, but I'll tell you one more thing, and then I'm going to get off. But I had a discussion on the same topic with an atheist named David
Silverman.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, David Levy. Yeah, and he was a very articulate, smart person. He didn't try any of those approaches. He was just a very interesting person to talk to. So I know there are those people out there, and but that's one of my biggest things, and is why attack the person rather than the argument? It just doesn't make sense.
Because there's two reasons. One,
the argument still stands.
Yeah, like my WASP argument, that has been unassailed. Everybody who's looked at it says they don't see any problem with the logic or the reasoning behind it. I know Matt Dillahunty tried, but he didn't even attempt to assail it. He just hand waved it away as, oh, this is dishonest, this is semantics, and everybody that knows logic was trying to explain to him, no, this is not a semantic argument. This is actually a logical argument. There's a huge distinction to be made there. But I think when they can't, they have to try to vilify people. I think they have to try to character assassinate people. It's like, hey, look at that. That argument Cheshire has, it's not true because she's a mean poopy head. She's a real, bitch kind of thing. That's what they'll do. And it works a lot of times for a lot of people that are not of critical mindset. It does work straight up. There have been people that will not engage me or talk to me or come on my channel because they're just not. They believe that nonsense, right? They believe the character assassination, and they're not at a level to have those critical thinking type mentalities. That's why we do these shows, to help out those people. And some of them
more
change.
often what we hear.
But not all.
All right.
Well,
you guys have a great week.
Well, thanks for calling in.
Thanks, buddy.
Good day.
And real quick, we got a super chat we missed. If you wanted to read that real quick.
Yeah, Boy of Ink for 5 said, I think it's more like 50-50, 50-50 of Steve love to hate ration.
Ratio. I think it meant ratio.
Ratio. Everyone loves to hate you.
Dude, I'm not Ben Shapiro, man. Come on.
I actually hear more often. Yeah, I tend to get dismissed more often. Even the other day, people were getting dismissed because, oh, it's just typical angry women. What?
Oh, I'm telling you right now that there had to be MGTOW or what is it? There's MGTOW and then the what's the other one? The MRA. There's these guys out there going, hey, look at these crazy women sitting around and they're just feminizing kind of stuff, and I'm like, well,
yeah, they're talking about periods.
Yeah,
I think we have another caller.
I've actually had people say Steve went MGTOW. I'm like, what? You guys don't even know what the hell that means. If you think I went MGTOW, I'm like, it's like, okay. I'm like so submissive when it comes to women any longer. I don't even bother. I'm like, fuck it. I don't even care. It's like, how the hell am I MGTOW?
I think we have another caller.
All right. I think it's hilarious, man.
Hello. Maybe muted. You may need to unmute.
Somebody had asked, they can't call in, but they asked a question while we're waiting for the person to unmute.
To unmute, hit *6 on your keypad, bud. I think that's
all right. So let me get this question out of the way real quick.
Does that make?
Yeah,
Hello.
Yes, hello. Let me
Good morning.
Morning. Give me 1 second here. So the question was asked in the live chat. What's the inference to the best explanation? It just moved. Damn it.
What the explanation is, and what are your explanatory virtues we should be looking for?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and it could take me about 30 seconds. It's just when we're looking for an inference to the best explanation, it's called an abductive argument, right? And an abductive argument is basically a form of inference inductively that we say, hey, we've had experience things that we've seen before. Therefore, if we see these types of things, we can abductively make an argument that might be the case. And that could be totally wrong. And I use the example, like, let's say I'm upstairs and I smell smoke and I hear, my baby crying, right? And I think to myself, hey, look, smoke baby crying, and it's awfully hot in here. Hey, there's a fire. That's an abductive argument to the best explanation. But that may not be the case. It might be the thermostat broke and the baby needs to be changed, and somebody was cooking and they burned something. There's other explanations, but an abductive argument is basically the best explanation given the data. And so the explanatory virtues are what we think are the reasons why it is the case for an abductive argument. That's all. I mean, so I have no problem with an abductive argument, but people need to justify why they think that certain things are the best explanation. This happens a lot in intelligent design arguments. Right.
Yeah. Godless Scummer for 5 said the love-hate relationship for Steve is 50-50 in perpetuity. Good morning, and how are you, lovely caller? Who are we talking to?
Okay, I'll give you a hint. I'm from New Zealand, and I am a mad lad.
We don't know anybody from New Zealand.
We don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go then. Bye.
New Zealand is just an extension of Australia.
Yeah, New Zealand doesn't exist, does it? Not. Yay!
Let me rephrase that, Monty. Hang on. New Zealand is an extension of Australia with better-looking people.
Ooh.
And kinder people.
Australia were beautiful people, man. They were nice. They were really cool people. I have no problem with Australians. I really enjoyed my time in Melbourne. So. How are you?
So, I am good. How are you both doing today?
Well.
It's 7. Okay. Yeah. It's 7 a.m. here in the morning. I just woke up and I'm like, nope, I'm not missing this caffeine corner today. And when I saw it's a call-in show, I'm like, yes, I'll call in. And yeah, just put in my thoughts across. It's just that in the last few days with Aron Ra, I even got further disappointed with the atheist community. The atheist community of Austin, Texas, where we have Matt Dillahunty and all that crowd. I just feel like now they're just so hell-bent on getting people under the umbrella of their, whatever they define as atheism. They're just not open to any kind of discussions or debates. Like, they're so, like, should I say mechanical and short-sighted? That was the first reason I stepped away from that community, because when I used to see their shows, I used to be very excited. I used to look forward to them. And but what those shows just became about was people will call in, religious people will call in, or people who believe in a certain type of, deity or God, and they'll just bash on those people, or people who would use Bible as a source of evidence, and then, in the end, that person would get bashed on and, and just then hang up on that person. It just became that almost like 90% of the time. It would be rare that someone would come in and they would have a very calm, rational discussion with them. Maybe, and I tried to call in several times as an atheist. They would ask you, are you a theist or an atheist? And you won't get on the line because you're an atheist. They said, we want more theists.
Oh, no, it's worse than that, Manya. It's worse than that, because I've actually had somebody tell me when they called in, they had asked that question, right? Are you an atheist or theist? And they said neither. And they said, well, that's impossible. That's prescriptivism. See, they've already fixed the rules of the game, right? I mean, then they're saying, well, wait a minute. They're telling me, oh no, Steve can have his positions like that, but in their domain, in their realm, there are only two things: theist or atheist. So somebody like myself couldn't call in anyways, because I am neither. Other people are neither, and they're like, that's impossible. Well, first of all, that's a lie. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
Right? Clearly it's not impossible, because I'm one of those people. It's not impossible. It's just in their schema, they allow for it. But that doesn't make it impossible.
Well, and I felt so alienated in that moment. I was like, if this is what they want. This is... Dude.
Seriously, it's a show to mock theists. It's not about helping atheists any longer.
That's
it started off maybe that way.
No,
yeah, I mean, I used to watch it back in the day. Yeah.
Because when I joined this community with you, Steve, and everybody else here, you went deep in your arguments, and that was what would happen to me on social media. I would come across people who were very, let's say, seasoned with their debating skills, especially in the domain of logic and philosophy. And I would have no tools to counter them. I would have nothing. And I would try to go to, the videos of Matt Dillahunty and stuff. Okay, they are very, okay, and like a positive point of them, they have studied the Bible, and I understand why, because Matt Dillahunty was studying to be a pastor. So that was his job at that time. So he's good at that. He's very good at that. And he's very good at structured debates. But when it comes to logic and stuff and trying to give tools to his, to the people who follow that type of atheism, he has not provided anything, according to me. And
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
and it's just getting worse now. And I just feel sad. I feel sad for that community that they're becoming so superficial now, and they're not open to any kind of, I would say, challenge. It's just the
Yeah,
same
because
thing.
they
It's
don't want
either
to challenge. They want to mock the theist, right? And here's the thing, Mania. For a theist to call in, let's just put it all out there. A theist is not going to prove God on a show, right? It's not going to happen, right? So they already had a distinct disadvantage, right? So any kind of philosophical argument that requires any kind of in-depth discussion, they don't want. It's not the type of show for that.
yeah.
And so, like
And
my
I
argument,
would
they're not going to be able to argue that stuff. It's just they have to kind of like just by fiat dismiss it because Matt.
That's so disrespectful of Matt Dillahunty to dismiss you
That's
like
their
that
show.
and call you
Whatever, I
names
don't-
like that.
It's Matt. His ego takes precedence, but Matt isn't there to educate people on this topics. He's not there to do that. Anybody thinks otherwise is extremely misleading themselves. They're not to educate the atheists.
Yeah,
They're to entertain base level atheists by trying to show some of the follies of the theists, which again, that's their model. Whatever.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of a
They
shame
just say,
because they sort of present themselves as the first step for a lot of people and have been the first step for a lot of
Agreed.
people of coming out of that faith, and to take it's to take advantage of that to the degree that they are, I think is not a positive thing on communities in general, no matter who you
Yes.
are doing it.
Yes.
and I've also noticed that it's only with their, like, the Austin, Texas, like, I think so, Atheist ACA, that's what their organization is, if I'm not wrong. I've seen that issue with that organization only at the moment. Like, I saw someone in the chat say that in Europe and other countries, it's not that problem, and I agree with them. It's intrigue feline, if I'm not wrong, and I agree with her. In New Zealand, also, people are very open about, going to the finer points and discussing those finer points, and so I've not had that problem here in New Zealand. And according to Intrigue Feline, it's not a problem in Europe either. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. ACA needs to start opening up for more avenues. I'm like,
I've been
it's
kind of
good
cheeky
that
today. I've
Sorry?
been being kind of cheeky today because I've been starting to kind of, like, in the background just be a little bit cheeky and a little bit of goof on them. I don't actually think this, but just to goof on them, I've been starting to call them the atheist cult of Austin, or instead of cult, just what is it?
Well,
I came up with another word too. I don't necessarily think they're that far. It's just a goof. I'm just teasing.
Here's the thing, though. As you pointed out, though, they are the kind of the gateway to people like to talking about atheism. They're kind of the first thing people see, and because they don't go into any depth, because they don't explain things, because they don't want people to be philosophically literate, it makes it very difficult for the people that want to have these conversations on a higher level. Right? There are two groups of people out there: the ones that want to stay at the base level and that will say the most dumbest things. I was talking to a Twitter person the other day. It was like, this is like a rank level 0 kind of person, and the people are noticing. They're like, Steve, why are you wasting this time with this guy? This guy's literally an AXP protege, rank level 0 kind of stuff. And I try to help give, like, at least explain to them, hey, look, you don't even know the base. You don't even know what you don't know kind of stuff, right? They were having none of it because a lot of them just latch on to this stuff that the AXP puts out. And it's a shame too, because again, they used to do a lot of good stuff. Chester and I were both agreeing on Twitter today. We used to love when Tracy Harris would tear into people. I mean, she like
I
viciously
love
would do
her.
so with her words,
I
right?
love
I mean, she had some really good
Happy.
counter arguments.
Talk to us at some
She is
point. I would
She's awesome.
love that.
She probably hates me, but I always thought she did a really good job. But she didn't let her ego get in the way of it. That was the difference. But look at all the stuff that happened with AC and the split.
About David Silverman. You said that about David Silverman, and he was willing to come talk to us. So maybe there's hope. Maybe there is
David
hope.
and I happen to get along. I don't know why.
You should not judge people so harshly about whether or not they like you.
We'll see.
Or assume
I would
that
talk to Tracy.
or assume that their like of you trumps whether or not they would have a conversation, because that might be a conclusion that you should not jump to, because perhaps you experience that too much in general.
Yeah, that's true. But let me ask Manya this and some other people. When it comes to like these topics, and they want to have discussions with theists, and they want to have discussions with people on philosophical topics relating everything from morality to epistemology to truth to these cosmological arguments, these tag arguments. If they want to be able to talk to theists about these arguments, have they really learned anything from AXP as compared to like listening to channels like mine, listening to channels that actually talk about the actual philosophical concepts? Because I don't think they have.
Let me tell you. Okay, someone said it in the chat. Mr. Sirius, ACA might be good for gaining courage to come out as an atheist, but if you want to go down the long road and really feel confident in your position, whatever your position is, I would prefer channel like yours.
No, I think that's
to watch
channel. That's what they try to do, Manya. Their channel is exactly set up for that. They just want to be able to normalize atheism. This is their agenda, and I got no issue with that. And so they want people to be able to come out as atheists, right? No, I don't fault them for that, and I really don't.
Yeah. I know that. It's
how hard was it for you to come out?
We don't fault them for that. Pardon?
How hard you were a pretty firebrand bitch for the most part back when. So what made you? Yeah. So when you finally said enough of this and you became an atheist, it probably wasn't very easy.
No, it wasn't. It took some time for my parents to digest that. Okay, because it's kind of back home it's kind of difficult for people to imagine life without a deity, or without a belief, because a lot of courage that people get through the shittery in their life is through religion. I don't fault them for that, but there was just some point where I couldn't, couldn't justify a lot of things that are in my religion. So I was like, whatever, I'm just done with it. So I dropped it. Then I would listen to. Sorry.
The atheist.
Was there an echo?
The atheist clique of Austin. That I got it. That's what it should be.
There's no doubt that group is entirely one big clique. You're either in, you're out.
The atheist clique of Austin. There's the goof. Cult is too harsh and too far. Atheist clique of Austin.
Yeah, I think that's a more appropriate term.
That's the best goof. They're gonna go goof on them. No trolling.
So again, I would reiterate my point. ACA might be good to give you that, courage, that little push to come out. But if you want to go down the long road and really want to strengthen your positions, or maybe even change your positions, I think channels like Non Sequitur, your channel, etc., they are very good. And it's surprisingly, these are small scale, like comparatively, they're the small scale channels that are doing all the hard work for them, actually. And Matt Dillahunty and co should appreciate you guys. You're allies in this, long journey.
Aron used to consider me an ally until I held him to the same standard he holds to other people. And when he has repeated fallacy after fallacy after fallacy, and it's not just me. There are well-educated people out there going, Aron, just stop. Enough. You're literally ruining your credibility because you want people to take you seriously. But when you say the most dumbest things, people are going to step on that. They're going to go, hey, Aron, you need to. I hate to say it, stay in your lane, kind of thing. but he has transversed into different domains of discourse where he just is not well read or literate or competent in any way. And I'm not claiming that I am, but I am claiming that there are people out there who are, that are saying this.
Yeah, there were people.
Well,
It was evident, quite evident. If you go at the thread and read that thread, it was quite evident. People were just like, Aaron, you got it wrong. Please be humble and accept it. But he just kept going for some reason. I don't know. It's a pride thing. It's an ego thing. Why? I don't know why. I find that another issue with that crowd. They just can't accept it if someone comes in and kind of proves them like, okay, you got this wrong. Someone, and that's not like, they're not trying to like make a fool of you. They're genuinely trying to help you out. Mate, you got this wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Correct yourself. But for some reason, they don't want to do that. I don't know if it's an ego or pride thing that's happening right now, which is again wrong. It shouldn't be like that for our community at all. We should be open to challenge. I don't know why they stopped doing
Somebody
that.
to show my arguments are wrong. I'll sit there and have a discussion with them. As a matter of fact, I even asked somebody from the ACA today. I'm like, okay, who from the ACA wants to be able to sail my argument or talk about my argument or have a discussion on it? And I don't think any of them want to, because where are they going to go with it? I mean, maybe I might get one be able to do so, but they want to do it on their territory. They want to do it on their platform. Why don't you call in and talk about your argument? Well, I might, but it's just like, well, wouldn't you rather do it on kind of a free flow, organic?
We had that conversation not too long ago. It's a matter of, that's not the, like, if you're already giving theists the boost up and the leg up, and that's who you want to talk to, which is fine. You've already demonstrated that we're not the people that you want to have calling in. We are not the discussions that you want to have on your show. And we also don't want to be assholes by calling into your show when it's not an appropriate topic. We're trying to.
Why we haven't called into any of them. I've never called into any of them, and that's the exact reason.
No, I would never. It's just not, and it's not because we don't want to talk to them.
Well, I might call into.
I actually.
That's only because he's asked or it said, "Yeah, you can call. You go ahead and call in." But I don't think it would end well. Yeah, I just don't.
It sounds like not a good idea.
I kind of agree.
I was actually sticking with them for quite a while. I ignored this thing that they were alienating atheists like that, like point blankly telling them on the phone that they prefer theists to call. I was hoping that maybe in future, after a few years, they would be like, okay, maybe one day of the week or something like that, they will accept calls.
Oh, that'd be cool,
atheists. Yeah. Right? Just make 2 segments. But they never did it.
It is
I was
the experience, so I would not from atheists, right? That is kind of a little bit bizarre.
We don't care if you're an atheist, theist, agnostic, Buddhist, non-cognitive. I don't give a crap. It's just
like
specific position.
I don't know. Maybe because they were trying to get viewership. Maybe they were like, okay, if we bash on religious people, fundamental religious people who quote Bible and Quran and stuff, maybe they'll get more viewership and more attraction. Okay, that's a good strategy if you want to, but in the long run, what is your goal? If your goal is just to label everyone as atheist and disregard and respect what other people think about themselves, then you are no better than theists who say, oh, everybody knows that there's a God in their heart and they just choose to ignore it. That's the same thing. That's the same thing you're doing, according to me, and that's so unfair to people who are still on the brink, whether they haven't decided, but they're still having double thoughts. You just can't push them around like that and tell them, oh, you're an atheist because you don't believe in a God. That's ridiculous. And
well, that's their motto. That's the philosophy they want to put out. And anybody who speaks out against them is wrong by fiat, according to them. So whatever. What are you going to do? It's okay because a lot of people are changing. Well, a lot of people are noticing that, Manya. A lot of people are going, hey, you know what? We just got out of religion. We're not trying to be dogmatic. We don't want to have something else we'll be holding to. Why you keep on telling us that we have to think this way prescriptively? Because that's what they've been doing, right? And then they lie about it and say that's what I'm doing. I'm like, no, I'm doing the complete opposite. Go ahead.
We had a question from Bart Drat again that says, can supernatural ever be the best explanation of anything?
Maybe. See, here's the thing with an abductive argument. It usually goes by priors, right? And we have no priors of supernaturalism. However, I could probably make an argument that you could be justified to accept a supernatural causation if, in fact, for example, if I saw like the skies open and these chariots came out and these angels flying around heralding trumpets and all the stars spelled out Allah and a big booming voice said, I am the Lord. Yeah, my explanation for that would be some kind of supernatural causation, right? I don't have a problem with that as a justification. So, I mean, normally abductive argument is to the best inference based on prior experience. However, there might be some cases where there could be some exceptions with that, but that's individual. Like to me, I would be convinced by that. That would be enough to go, yeah, that's some, or if like I watch Cheshire's head spin around and her eyes turn red and she spews vomit and flames. I mean, I have seen that before, but I'm still trying to process it. But it could be a supernatural thing, right?
There's something to be said about stuff like that, is because so one of the things that I value as a person is consistency. So something that breaks the consistency of physics or the consistency of what we know as the natural world would give me pause. So I would want to, it wouldn't convince me on its head. I would still need a little bit more information before I would be decided to change my mind. So it's not that I wouldn't be willing to change my mind, but I would need to exhaust other forms of like, okay, why are the laws of physics no longer being consistent, and what effect is this having, and why is this going on? I would be definitely interested in changing my mind as to, wait, what? But I would also want to make sure that it wasn't, aliens just trying to fuck with me.
See, I wouldn't care at that point. If I saw something like that, if it was, I would just change my position later on. I would go with supernatural. Then if I found out it was aliens, I'd be like, okay, I just changed my position.
Well, that's fair.
I'd
Yeah,
okay
you might go that way. And
I'm not worried about being wrong. See, I don't know why people have this really adverse thing about being wrong, and I think maybe it's just some inherent thing we have. But if I have a belief that's false, and it's if I justified it appropriately and it's wrong, I don't have any.
Yep.
I don't care.
Well,
it doesn't bother me.
I would be concerned because in that case, particularly if you're going to pick the Judeo-Christian God, I would be concerned by the not whether or not the God is real at that point, but the ramifications of them being correct. Because them being correct brings a whole slew of other problems, like different kinds of oppression and slavery and rules that you are or are not going to follow. Because now at that point, I would not want to it changes the way I need to then view my life, not in that now I have to worship a god, but now I have to decide about what I'm going to do about this dictator god that now I have to fucking deal with.
I could see Chesh totally going up there and saying, "You got some splaining to do, Yahweh."
I have a revolution to start now against a goddamn god, and I am not happy about it.
And when it comes to like what we consider to be supernatural, the things that are not in the natural set, we don't know if it's an empty set or not, right? But when we have these conversations, supernatural tends to be something that is outside of our usual experience, right? If I saw the angels appearing and I saw the heavens open up and trumpets blaring and a voice booming, "I am God," that's something outside of our normal experience. I'm going to put that under supernatural. Other people don't have to, but that meets my criteria for out of the ordinary, something that's not ever been seen by naturally, at least by me. That what would we expect if God existed? Well, there might be an expectation that he would have chariots and cherubs and trumpets and a booming voice. That would be an expectation, right?
Yeah, we are specifying into the god. We're jumping to the god supernatural. It is possible that something supernatural could happen that has nothing to do with God. Let's say there's another dimension, and that dimension has magic in it, and so something supernatural. Like if magic counts as supernatural, like I can literally cast a fireball, and I am a fucking pixie, then that might be what is naturally the case in that dimension, but supernatural as far as we're concerned, but may not require a god of any kind.
God Discovered asked what channel what we were talking about. Truth Wanted is not Matt Dillon. It's Objectively Dan, and who does he do it with? I think he does it with Eric,
I don't
doesn't
know.
he? No, I don't remember.
Does he?
No, Eric does Talk Heathen. I don't know. Who does Objectively Dan do it with? Like, maybe he has different hosts he brings in.
Want me to look?
Yeah, if you want.
I'll try.
But yeah, there was actually a book that I read a long time ago by a guy named Piers Anthony. He wrote a book called Childhood End, and it was a pretty good movie too. But Childhood End, basically, there's an alien. You want me to give the spoilers because you're not going to ever read this book, right? But without giving too much away, there's an alien race that comes down, and they have a long tail. They're red. They have pointy horns. They look like a devil and demon, right? But they've been watching over the Earth. And I think if I remember correctly, like the Earth's supposed to be destroyed or something like that. They're there to like save the information or something. But they came earlier, and people, seen them, and so that's where we get this idea from demons from, right?
Rotating guests.
Rotating guest. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I could call into his if I wanted to, but again, I don't know why I would. I mean, if you would say, look, you call into my show, I'll call into yours. I'm okay with that because that's only fair. But I mean, I want to have an actual conversation with him about the particular topic, like the WASP argument, and I don't think it's feasible very well to do it on a call-in. I think it would have to be like something set aside. I don't know, because when you're calling into his show, it's just entertainment.
Right, yeah, it's not an appropriate topic for a call-in show. I think we all agreed on that last time we were talking. We were like, this is not something that would work, and it's not really something for your show. And it was never meant as anything derogatory. It was just straight up fact that I don't think there was any contention on. It was a matter.
Well, I mean, he gave a little pushback. He's like, maybe on the other shows, no, but on his show, maybe it would be something that they would talk about. But I think he maybe agreed on like AXP. That's probably not going to happen, obviously.
Well, I thought he was saying that it wouldn't really work as a call-in. It might work better as a guest, as I think was what we had agreed on. I may have been misunderstanding that, of course.
Yeah. WASP stands for
I'm
Weak
already
Atheist.
Supernatural for me to be a pixie.
WASP stands for Weak Atheist Special Pleading. Yes, weak atheism or Weak Atheist Special Pleading, either or. But yeah, it's a solid argument, and it really has nothing to do with semantics. It is just a straight up logical argument, if then else statement. If you know, like computer programming, you have if, then you have then you have an else statement that you can add on, and these are branching, and so it is essentially an if then else. But anyways, who we got on the line next?
No one right now.
Manya drop.
Manya left.
All right.
Hi, Manya.
We love you, Manya. Let me put the link out again because people tend to.
Tends to scroll.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
so here's the link to join the meets, and here's the link to actually call in if you refer it that way. Either or, but don't have too much longer.
Refers to natural, not your personal experience. It means above or beyond nature. You could probably find a better word for outside my personal experience. They went on to say, it's understandable thousands of years of shit, countless of gods who all rely on people to do the talking, gets old, and now we live in a time where the historically disenfranchised have a voice.
Well,
sure. I don't know if I disagree with that.
I mean, when people want to talk about supernatural, look, there's certain things that I think would be in that set if they existed. A god, a leprechaun, a fairy, an angel. Those would be in the set of things that I would put in the non-natural set. Now, if somebody wants to argue, well, if they have ontology and they're part of the natural, or they're part of the universe and they're probably part of the natural world, well, yeah, that might be the case. Ontologically, they exist in the universe, but natural. Again, we have a distinction for a reason. It's outside of our usual understanding of these terms. I think if something like an angel that prescriptively can change the laws of the universe, or you can fire magic missiles from your fingertips, I'm personally going to put that in the supernatural, even if it's part of the ontological domain of existence. That's because I think we have reasons why we want to have a line of demarcation of what we mean by these terms, right? For helpful discourse. If not, then what the hell are we talking about? That's just me. But again, other people may do it differently. Like in moral discourse, non-natural doesn't mean supernatural, right? So if we're talking about morality, and I'm a non-naturalist when it comes to morality. That doesn't have anything to do with supernatural. That just means you can't define things like good with terms like what is pleasurable.
I would then question. I would question the person to give. Can you give us an example of something that you would consider supernatural? Then, hello,
caller.
Oh,
hey,
hello?
what's up? This is Deep in the Heart, Broken Pieces.
Hey, what's up? Hey, first of all, by the way, do you use your name? I don't want to like dox you, but do you use your first name?
Well, the original idea was to try to keep as much of my personal information off the internet. Just it makes my wife more comfortable, and I have 4 kids that I don't want to have to be involved in all this. But I also understand I'm putting myself out there in a lot of ways, and I think it's probably going to be found out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to make it easy for people, though. Sometimes that's half of the fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you guys. My name is Justin. You're welcome to call me Justin.
Hi, Justin.
And,
Hi, Cheshire.
and can you like give your backstory real quick of how like you started watching and stuff like that?
Yeah, tell us who you are.
How I started watching you in particular?
Sure.
Well, okay. So I would say that you had to have been linked from just me. I have a very large interest in science, and I'm sure I was watching some channel that got linked, but I had also seen you on Drunken Peasants, and I'm a big Drunken Peasants fan. So that was whenever I actually subbed to you and started watching a lot. And then you did Non Sequitur, and man, I was loving it before everything went south.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
What? What was that?
I
by the way,
was impersonating Cartman.
By the way, is my audio good and everything? This is my first time to do this.
Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
so
no, it's good.
Cool. Great. Yeah, well, if you guys want to check out my channel, I could definitely tell you that I started out pretty much completely selfish. I feel like my family's in poverty. I feel like pretty much everyone around me are in different levels of poverty. And because of that, I wanted to, take advantage of the community online to bring my family up. But as I was talking to people about poverty, I realized a lot of people had a lot of really interesting things to say, and I don't really hate the sound of my own voice. So I started interviewing people about poverty, and that has just been amazing. I'm getting all sorts of different types of people. I've got people lined up. I have a producer here in town that said he's going to get me a little bit of music for the intro. And I'm just going to keep doing a little vlog updates because, like I said, I like the sound of my own voice.
Oh, I think it's a great niche.
Yeah.
When you had kind of pitched it, what you were going to be talking about, I thought it was really awesome because, talking about poverty is something that it's not really a big topic on YouTube, but maybe people don't understand how much. We've all been there. Dude, up until last year, I was struggling like you wouldn't believe, right? Obviously, I expected to have an income on Sequitur that I didn't get. I literally made $4,000 in 1 year, and I gave 10% of that away. So
absolutely.
It sucks. And by the way, just because I have a little bit of income now, which by the way is not a lot, I'm making a fraction of what I was making. Well, actually, what's so funny is when you take away like the fact I don't have a car, when you take away the fact I don't have to pay for insurance, you don't have enough. You don't have a lot of overhead, right? But
your cost of living isn't that high.
Yeah, but I still have this like for example, like I'll give you an example. I use my water bottles with tap water, and then I have a bottle of water that's normal, like unopened, but next I'll have tap water, and I'll kind of alternate, right? Because I'm frugal. I still use, Cool Whip Tupperware. I got no problem with that. People can shit on that, but you know what? They never knew what it's like to struggle. They never had to go through that. And when you do have a little bit of income and a little bit of support, I find no reason not to still be frugal. I don't want to waste. And yet people condemn me for that. It's like, oh, well, Stevie's dollar burritos. I mean, I get these burritos for $1 or whatever it is, or lobster rolls.
Believe you, there are people eating way worse than
I'm
that.
like, really? They're really good. First of all, they're really freaking good. But that's what you want to come at me with? Okay, it makes you look like an idiot. It doesn't do shit to me.
Yeah,
it makes you look like an idiot.
There's something that the chat was saying, and they made a point about the atheists being the disenfranchised group that are now having a voice. And I think what it sounds like you're trying to do, and what you may be succeeding at, is giving a voice to people who otherwise don't have it, and humanizing people in a way that allows for a larger audience to actually have a better understanding of economics and how these things actually affect data. Because you can talk about economics, and you can talk about minimum wage, and you can talk about how changing the minimum wage in this way will have this effect, this effect, this effect. But that's number crunching. And that is a very, very large difference when you're suddenly talking to somebody who's like, listen, I work 3 jobs, I work as hard as I can at those 3 jobs, and I still can't make enough to survive, and I can't afford to have coffee on a regular basis. And people in Congress are telling me I should be allowed to have that coffee because that's something that's considered a luxury.
And it's expensive cost of living. Look,
luxury. Steve knows. I went out and I bought a cheap $6.90 or $6.49 bottle of a 1.5 liter bottle of wine for my wife because, like, she's graciously given me the ability to be a stay-at-home dad, and she's working. And I just think that we all live in the human condition, and it's not everything is a luxury. Like, we have to get through it, and we have to get through it harder than they do a lot of the times.
Can I tell you something? One of the reasons why
a $5 bottle of wine is a luxury is doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
One of the reasons I kind of left a particular group, I didn't like the shit they were doing, but one of the things that really bothered me is they actually had somebody where they kept complaining about the guys impoverished type living conditions, and even though it wasn't like dirty or disorganized, it was just not living in the greatest part of the town, having a small place, and they do the same to me. Steve lives in a little room in the house. Yeah, so what? I find those things, like, it doesn't bother me personally at all. It literally doesn't. But it's the fact that these people have to use that as some kind of like negative weapon because they have nothing else to argue, and it makes themselves look so petty. And how pathetic they're not the level to have an actual discussion on the actual topic, right? So they are like,
fragile
find something else.
Is your ego that you have to try and kick somebody when they may actually already be down in their living situation to feel better about themselves? How
literally. Yeah, now it doesn't matter to me because I'm not in that condition right now. But shit, for people that are, and I have been, I know what it's like. It's belittling to them, and these people are shitty fucking people. And I think if you have a channel that promotes,
it's implying that people who are impoverished don't have anything to add to a conversation or don't have anything to add to society, and that is 100% the opposite. If you wanted to get somebody to do a really good job budgeting for a county or for a local area, you should be getting together the impoverished people, paying them to say, hey, listen, you guys have had to live in this condition with this amount of money. Is there anywhere that we can cut and spend our budget in a better, more meticulous way? Can you help us with that?
I knew exactly
that's what I want to do. I want to build the community, build my community here. Because like I said, our family wouldn't survive without community here. But the community online, that's what I kind of have a passion for. And there's a lot of people out there. So if we can work together like a community, from top down, and we raise the bottom from being hungry and dying on the streets just a little bit up, I think that, like Steve said earlier, a raising tide rises all ships, and it's important.
help. I would actually recommend making, like, for example, links to like food banks, making links
Yeah.
to homeless shelters, and having that information readily available could make a world of difference. Because we have 2 food banks down here. I haven't had to use them. I've been fortunate, but my roommate
if
has.
you're reaching
without
out
that,
to the sorry. If you're reaching out to the online community, then the struggle with that is that there are so many people living in so many different places. Trying to put all those links in your description isn't going to fly. So what I would recommend is actually building a spreadsheet. So, well, let me get there. Let me get there, Steve. Calm down. I know you're excited. He likes talking about food. That's all this is.
Hey, I'll blame him.
It's the lobster rolls, man. I'm telling you.
It's my one pleasure, man. Fuck, food.
So what I would recommend doing is getting an Excel spreadsheet or use Google Docs. So it's free. Get an Excel spreadsheet or a sheet put together with the location and area. So if it's like, let's say it's in California and it's this area of California. So you'd have California in one page and you would have all the resources for California and its different areas. Then you would do another page, like another second page, and you'd say this state, this state, this state, and try and go through the states and make a massive spreadsheet.
I like that.
Filter, and they'd be able to search through their area, and then all you have to post is one link and it has all of the information, whether it be homeless shelters for these people, for those people, et cetera, et cetera. The other way you could do it is you could actually put hyperlinks inside of spreadsheets and connect them together. So what you can do is you can make a spreadsheet that says, here's a spreadsheet if you're this spreadsheet is if you're a trans person looking for, like, you're an underage trans person looking for help for being homeless because your family's going to kick you out, something like that. And then you could say, these are that list. And then you could actually hyperlink back to each different thing. So if you need help with this, here's also these resources. If you need help with this, here's also these resources. And then you can link to all the different spreadsheets. So you can essentially make a massive web that is searchable across multiple documents.
Well, I like that, and I really like that a lot. And once I, be able to get my dogs barking on stuff outside, but once I be able to do more stuff, that's definitely going to be a direction I head in. But there's more to it than I think I'm pushing through, because the majority of the people I've talked to so far are basically at the poverty level me and my family are. Not too high, not too low. Barely scraping by. If there was an emergency, it would hurt us real bad,
Oh,
you're breaking up. Yeah, you're walking too
lost
far
you.
from your wife.
Oh, wait. Oh, did I lose you guys?
Just for a second
Did
there.
I lose you guys?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
so
better.
sorry. My dog was barking. I went outside. So basically what I was saying was, it's not just about talking to this quote unquote middle class community that I survive in that doesn't really exist anymore. I believe it's poverty. I do want to go down the street, like not very far, where all the homeless drug addicts and things like that are, and people look down at them. Where are they going to get the mental health help to even get them off the street? But not just them. I have, people that I know that are really, really smart people, surgeons, that brought themselves up from, the bottom. And now he's at home. He spends his time playing Call of Duty, and the rest of his time he spends saving lives. And he was pretty meagerly, but he's happy.
Let me ask you this, Justin. Have you ever thought about going to your Chamber of Commerce, going to your local city meetings, and ask for them to maybe allow for the budget to have a food bank that you can set up, have what's called it's a collective of some sort. People sign up for it. It's like maybe like 20, 30 homes or something like that. They all help out. They go around. They collect food, or people bring the food, and you basically just divvy it up. But the community as a whole helps fund it, helps advertise for it, helps get the message out. Have you ever thought about doing something like that? Because a lot of communities will do that.
It sounds to me like what he's trying
go ahead,
right now is kind of getting people together right now. And so I think the first step is to yes eventually get there, and to yes eventually get all these resources. But I think the first step is like getting the following, getting the community, getting people heard, and getting people together to actually be able to then start taking steps to be like, okay, how do we reach out, how do we get there, how do we get to that point? But getting the people together first and getting their voices in existence.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And kind of what Steve was saying, and I think that if I were to go in the direction that he was saying, I could use this resource. But a big community resource we have right in my town is a Helping Neighbors Facebook group. And if you need something, you go on there and you're like, hey, I need this. And if somebody has it, they'll be like, where are you? Or, can you come get this? So that's awesome. And I know the organizers of that, so they would be more than happy to help me set up something like that.
I think that you've got a good game plan.
I absolutely love this idea. I'm so glad that you found us and reached out to us, and Steve's found you, because this is a great idea. And I already know that there's people in our community that are going to be so down to help you in every.
Had these problems, weren't so healthy, and I feel for these people, because a lot of people look down on them and think that, oh, well, they're throwing their life away. Yeah, they are, but are they consciously doing that? Like, I don't know.
Let me give you some advice on that, because we really do strongly believe in proper mental health. I mean, astronomically so. People may not know. My brother, before he passed, suffered from depression. I never did. I never had depression, but I can empathize with things like that. And people do have extreme issues they didn't have taken care of. But be very careful. Just remember this: even though you want to help people and recognize people mental health issues, when you put your own stuff out there, it will eventually be used as a weapon against you. You have to be prepared for that. And if you're not, then don't say anything about your own mental health status, because there are shitty people out there, people that are just the antithesis of what we're trying to do, that will use that as a weapon against you. Even though you're trying to help people, they don't care. All they want to do is foster drama. All they want to do is hurt people. They're very sick in the head themselves, and they're not getting the proper help.
There's a lot of people who actually have disdain for anyone with mental health. They don't view them as people. They don't treat them as if
they don't believe it's true.
Or worse, they will use mental health to try to get people to harm themselves. I've seen this happen. These people are so,
especially on the internet.
On the internet, they will use your mental health conditions as a weapon against you to try to have you self-harm. That's their goal. I mean, I'm not even fronting. This is deadly serious. This happens, and so very, very careful that you know what you're getting into.
I'll tell you, as soon as my wife, she is in the veterinary industry, she has a passion for animals. As soon as we decided to change roles, like when she told me that I was going to be home and staying with the kids, and I was going to escape the machine that was killing my mental health in the first place, I started crying. Like, it felt like the biggest load being left off my shoulders. And I know my wife is so happy to get back to her passion, and unfortunately we're going to take a pay cut for it.
I'm so happy for you guys, though, because it's if you might take a pay cut in the short term, but if you are able to succeed in what you're trying to do, one, you're going to be able to help so many people, and two, you're going to have enough support that you'll make up that gap. Helios for 10 said, people who make more money in an hour than I make in a year tell poor they need to make sacrifices because the corporation is taking a hit in sales because no one can afford to buy non-essentials.
Yes. It's funny you mentioned that, Helios. Wait, did you guys see? I swear to God, I thought this was a joke at first. I really did. I was like, this cannot be freaking serious.
You're not talking about the McDonald's thing, are you?
Yes!
Oh, God, I have that saved for a Goblin Reads. I literally...
Comedy. This is really comedy. I was like, this is... my brain split. I'm like... And it was serious.
Justin, if you don't have it, I'll send it to you. Reach out to me on Twitter. I will send it to you. There was another one. There was an article. There was an article about millennials killing. Yeah, it was serious. Yeah, it was a serious article. There was an article that was written about how millennials were killing Applebee's, and everybody, like all of the millennials, and anybody that could rub two brain cells together, responded with, "The people working at Applebee's can't afford to work at Applebee's. How is this a functional fucking business model? You absolute morons!"
Yeah, you can live on minimum wage if you give up some things, like things you don't need, like food. Running water, heat. If you give up some basic stuff,
you know what you can have? You can have ramen noodles.
Like, what am I willing to put up
You
with
want
today?
fresh vegetables?
No. Eat dirt.
Eat fresh vegetables. No good bread. No good dairy. But ramen noodles, old potatoes, old carrots, maybe. They hand out plenty of that stuff, But we'll eat it. Like if time's tough, we will.
In their budget, they're like, if you have this as your budget, they neglected to mention some actual necessities in life, not just like amenities. Not like, look, I can give up a car. I can give up. What's funny is I didn't have much of a car before I even moved here. I took the bus to work. That's how I know Keno, because Keno rode the bus with me for years. Keno Browner. I mean, she was a busmate of mine. I was frugal way back then, long before I even moved, and I was doing okay. I was making decent money. I had a house, but having a house is expensive. I mean, people don't remember, you're paying a lot of money in rent, and you're paying property tax, and you're paying for cable, and you're paying for heat, and you're paying for electricity. And it adds up pretty quickly, right? But
oh yeah.
I was like, okay, I need to cut back a little bit. One of the things I stopped doing was driving. That saved me a lot of money.
Angry. I can't. Some days I have to just not have this kind of a conversation, because it's so. Remember when I said I value consistency? I can't. I can't. I literally can't. Why would you have a business model where the people that are working for you full time can't afford your product? Who the fuck's gonna buy your product?
And then they'll fire you for eating it because you're hungry, because you can't afford to fucking buy it. I'm sorry. I think it's okay to use that word.
Yeah, it's fine. They don't want full time, because in the full time they have to give extra benefits for it. And so what they'll do is they'll purposely cut your hours down to where you're only a part-time employee, and then they basically fire you at will. I mean, California's an at-will state. And they don't give overtime like my work. Overtime.
And then they expect you to be like, oh, you should be for the company. You should give us everything. Why? You don't even give me a stable job because you can fire me at any point. And that's additional pressure that just people don't realize is an additional pressure on not only them, but also on other people that these companies are treating them.
Yeah, you're an at-will employee in California.
It's a pressure on whole families. I mean, it's a pressure on whole families. Like, it's what's destroying America and mental health. Like I said, as soon as my wife gave me the ability, I'm going to go to my doctor tomorrow and I'm going to be like, hey, like, I know that there's some things that we have to keep addressing, like my thyroid. If that doesn't work, there's no shame in that. But there's other things I know we have to keep addressing. But I just know that being at home and doing this now, and just talking to you guys, like, I'm not going to have to worry about those mental problems anymore. I won't be having nightmares about, losing everything because I freak out because I hate my life at this place. I don't know. It's a life changer.
It helps to have people talk to, and we're grateful that you've been exposed to the community. There's a lot of other channels out there that do live stuff all the time that have people calling in or just hanging out in hangouts. And the more you get out there, because obviously you don't seem to have any kind of fear of public speaking, the more you get out there, it is therapeutic. I mean, look, I've been there, and look, I don't really have any mental health issues per se, but I do have occasionally, anxiety like anybody else had, normal anxiety, but you're just like, what, God damn, I'm just bummed out. I don't want to, maybe I'll jump online and just, get into a conversation. And sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes you don't want to deal with anybody. It all depends, right? But knowing that it's there, knowing that I can call somebody or hey Cheshire, I need to like vent, or Bullinator, I need a vent, or they can call me and they need a vent. Even if you don't use it, the knowledge that's available makes a significant amount of difference.
There's also something to be said for a really good community, and this community has done outreach in the past to help people from the community. So you get going and get some of your, I guess, product put together, which would be your streams and your interviews. Get a little bit more of that out there, and I guarantee you that there are already people, even in this chat right now, that are 100% on board and will be more than happy to volunteer their time and their expertise in different fields, as well as their contacts and who they might know to be able to get things out. We've recently, because of some of the CP stuff going on Twitter, I've been looking into getting in contact with news stations, so we can get some of what you're talking about viewed in that regard. Also, like there's opportunities in community.
You know, it's funny actually.
That situation.
Whenever I just because you said news stations, whenever I first started this, before I had the idea to like start kind of doing YouTube and social media, I literally did like go to every major city and I found like the news station and I gave them my story and stuff. And of course, you know, no one contacted me, but it's really cool that you're getting that kind of access.
Well, it's a matter of pushing it. It's not.
What state do you, I mean, without giving too much information, but eventually it's going to come out.
Colorado.
Colorado, okay.
Colorado. You'll see, because there'll be a GoFundMe associated with that YouTube page, and you'll see it's called Moving to Texas. I love the great state of Colorado. I was born and raised in Texas, and I'm not very fond of the weather there. I love the cold, and the fact that it's 80 degrees at 3 a.m. just doesn't seem natural to me.
Oh, we're in a heat wave, dude. It's 107 to 110 here. It's a little bit cooler today. It's only like 95 or something like that, but it was 107 for the weekend. It was Death Valley hit 130, which is one of the hottest on record. Yeah, it's since 1913 or something, and they say 134 was the hottest on record, but that was kind of questionable. But yeah, where I'm at, it is deathly hot. There's an excessive heat warning. It's been in different days. It's starting to cool off a little bit. And what I mean by cooling off, it's like, oh, it's only like 95.
You can only take off a amount of clothes to cool down. In the cold, you can pile it on. But with heat, sometimes it's just you're sizzling like bacon.
A lot of news stations don't value stories like that for a lot of reasons. It upsets the balance of a lot of things. But on top of it, they want things that are more extreme or more that are they want views. However, if you're able to present this a way on YouTube where it catches fire and it gets views and people are interested and people are sharing it, then you'll be able to catch the attention of the news outlets, because now you're having an effect on the community at large. It is a larger effect and situation, and they'll get you the exposure that you need to be able to get to that point and then blow up from there potentially.
You're on the path of being a McCrazy.
Yay!
I'm excited. I'm excited to give people, a chance to talk, because I love hearing different kinds of people talk. Like I've approached so many people that didn't want to be on camera, but still wanted to just talk about poverty. And that's awesome. I've been so humbled and I've learned so much. And I'm really not trying to get a political point out there. I'm very passionate, and I think that my beliefs come through pretty easily. But I said in the chat earlier that you guys helped me see, I come from TJ Kirk, the Amazing Atheist, back in the day. I kind of wasn't the most easiest transition from Christianity, but you guys really helped me see that there are shades of gray, and truth isn't even always completely relevant. Like, truth is as what we determine it to be. And I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that. But I just appreciate you guys.
You've definitely got a good idea, good
yes.
Goals in mind, right? So like I said, this community loves to help people. You're going to find there's two groups of people, and it is pretty dichotomous. You're going to find the people that want to help, the people want to get involved, the people want to have these discussions, and then you're going to have all the people that that want to fight against that. They want to destroy and harm the people wanting to have discussions. They want to character assassinate them. You're going to have to be seriously. You're just going to have to just suck it up and realize that that's what's going to happen. But
If you, yep.
Go ahead.
If you get in touch with us a little bit more in the background, I know you're talking to Steve already, but if you get in touch with people like Ilya and me and a couple of the other people in the community, that one will be more than happy to help you, but two will help you kind of make a game plan in moving forward and how to put your channel together and how to present your stuff in a way that's going to be easily digestible for people and for over longer or shorter videos about what's help you grow, and then as well as the people who are going to be willing to volunteer their time and expertise for like people who are good at programming, people who are good at outreach, people who are good at shilling your information. As you might need to get a couple of more videos out, a little bit more content for people to be able to to do that. If you can get like your interview started and stuff, right, and be able to find you've grown to 26 at the very least from today. So
nice.
I think this is a really good place to end it. To go subscribe, go check this channel out. And we'll be working in the background to help grow this idea and grow this concept out to help people and start maybe help maybe what would be called a movement of information, a movement of I would probably say humanism at this point.
Yeah,
quite frankly,
I like that.
That's what it's to me, and to change the way people view different people from different economic status, and incur some kind of change in the way we look to move forward, whether it be through how the way businesses run, and whether it be through the way outreach is done. It sounds like there's a lot that can be done here, and I would love to see something like that grow, and I would love to do nothing more than to help out in something like that. So please go subscribe.
She does artwork. You might be able to convince her. You might be able to convince her.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna need as much hard work because Steve knows I have 4 kids and they come first, but I'm gonna put every bit that I have extra into this for sure, into my community and into this, because I want to help, and I think that you guys are right, and with the right resources, we could help a lot of people.
I think you're right, and I appreciate it. All right, so let's put his link one more time. Donators got it. So we're going to wrap this up. This was awesome. I appreciate this, guys. I think that's a great way to end the show because it actually typifies exactly what this channel is for, is to help people become critical thinkers and just help people in general become better people. And I think that what Justin has in mindset is exactly what this community is about. I mean, it typifies exactly the premises and the principles that I personally live by. Now, I know a lot of people will, condemn that, and they don't want to have ethics. They don't want to have, they don't want to do the right thing. They want to do the opposite of that, and that's fine. But this channel will continue to point out those types of behaviors, continue to point out how to recognize them, and like I said, knowing that people like Justin have watched and learned from it, and Moon and
are now working and are now building their own things to reach out and help and educate people further, that there's nothing more that we can ask for.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Kino says 118 where I used to live. It did hit 122 one day, which is 50 degrees Celsius. 118 is hot in India. It is like scorching. Oh God!
The people who choose to live in Arizona and places like that, I don't even want to talk to them.
You know what? There might be Arizona, New Mexico. Landlord's putting the house up for sale. We're actually boxing stuff up today, actually. And he literally just messaged me, when do you want to help box some stuff up? And one of the places he's looking at is Arizona or New Mexico, and I'm like, I still want to move in town, so I'm trying to convince him to stay in this area. So I think we're staying in this area. I think I've convinced him, but he did mention Arizona and New Mexico. I'm like, look, I love Arizona and New Mexico, but you talk about hot. He's like, I want to get from with the heat. I'm like, and you want to go to Arizona? It's like,
yeah,
really,
nights are cooler.
Yeah.
Dry heat. But let's wrap up. Thank you everybody watching. Thank you everybody who is lurking. Thank you everybody who likes and shares. Please share this out so we can get Justin here a little bit more notoriety. There's their link. Please go subscribe and look out for what's going on in there in the future, because if it gets well and it gets a little bit of traction, I see nothing but good things coming from this.
Agreed.
Justin, you have anything you want to say before you get the hell out of here?
No, I mean, just thank you guys for the opportunity to come on and talk. And it seems like I've already got a community coming. So I'm definitely going to take my kids to the park. Hopefully I can meet some people, do some in real life. And if not, just blab at the camera a little bit. I always have something to mumble about. But I'll see you guys at Rum and Coke night. I'm going to have a little bit of Ringing Martin. The small bottle, but it'll be good.
Hey, bring Kevin in.
Nice.
And we did double your subs today, so yay. All right, guys. I got nothing to add. I want to end it like that. Cheshire, what do you got to add?